What is your never again brand, store, restaurant, or company? Ducking at and it's one thing after another with these assholes. They've been taking $60 a month from my checking account for the last 7 months for a prepaid phone that I don't have. They can't tell me why or take me off auto draft because I don't have a phone number to look up the phone that I don't own. Just spent almost an hour at the bank trying to dispute this. It's just the most recent in a long list of duckery caused by Atent. Those twats. I took my Beta Woods truck to a local tire shop for an alignment. They told me they couldn't align it because I had a sticky U-joint, and then charged me for an hour of labor because I had to take the tie rods off. I argued because U-joints don't impact alignment and B, there was about an inch of grime on the castle nuts, so there's no way the tie rods came off. They brought out a manager who just made it up about how alignments work. I am a mechanical engineer. I think they thought they could get away with it because I am female. Nope. I filed a complaint with the state and they were fined for lying about service costs. I bought an engine from AutoZone for a vehicle I owned. They had a vendor build the engine, and it was supposed to ship to my house. I waited 3 weeks for it to arrive, but it never did. I contacted their store, was told that it hadn't shipped yet and was coming via FedEx freight. I kept up with the tracking but couldn't get anywhere with it. I kept calling back every couple of days to see what was going on, and no one could figure it out. I finally managed to find out that it had shipped via another company, RL Freight, and had been delivered to somewhere else. It was like pulling teeth to get a refund on an engine I never received. It took another 2 weeks to get the refund. I won't buy a soda from AutoZone now. If I see something is being shipped by On Track, I'll cancel. The 3 times they were the delivery company from Amazon. They lost one package completely and tried to say it wasn't their fault. The second package was also deemed lost but then showed up on my doorstep something like 6 weeks later. The third time it sat on shipping label created for a week and I just contacted Amazon and cancelled the package. You don't find a lot of positive reviews out there and any positive ones you do find seem like they were written by the company via a fake account. Panera. They raised prices and shrank their portions a while ago. Not worth it anymore. Frontier Internet. They're one of the ittiest ISPs I've ever had. I will never go back, no matter how cheap it is. Wafer. Delivered a wooden table that had a huge split on the side and was broken where you put the leaf to extend the table. Got 4 deliveries and every single time it was the exact same table with the same damage. Eventually got a full refund, but did they seriously think that would work? Makes 0 sense to me. Bonus. Ordered a bedroom set around the same time and paid for delivery and assembly. The assemblers were 2/3 through the assembly and told me they couldn't finish because they couldn't understand the instructions. Had them take all the stuff back and also got a refund. 1,800 flowers. Duck them. They waited several days after I placed an order for Mother's Day to tell me that they wouldn't be able to fulfill the order. They waited until the day before, putting me in a bad position. Now I Google my mom's zip, add flowers and have a few choices. I call the local shops directly and 1,800 flowers is cut out of the process. Olive Garden. First the meals got itty and I could deal with it, but then the Alfredo sauce did too, and that's where I draw the line. There is a burger joint here, relatively new, less than 5 years, that some people swear by. It's a weird kind of burger though, a kind of spicy gravy style burger, but not like your grand's gravy. It's rather tangy, vinegary, whatever. It was odd. So I tried it on my lunch break, recommended by a coworker, and thought, nah, I don't get the hype, but it's not terrible. Then I went back to work, and shortly thereafter all hell broke loose. I had the most volatile, violent, unsolicited and certainly non-consensual colon cleanse of my life. I was so obviously tore up that not even my manager made a stink about me essentially doing 0 work for the next 4 hours of the workday. To this day when I pass by that place I say never again. My wife thinks I'm making a stupid dad joke I won't give up on. She's aware of what it did to me, but for me it's more of a solemn prayer. Edit. To do this changed to this day. Not sure how I typoed that. Edit 2. Okay fine. Company name is Mojo's Cafe, registered sign. Local business. Hence the hesitancy to just outright say it. But there you have it. Cancan, a little Mexican restaurant in my area. They had a bunch of tacos on their menu, all of which listed cheese and white sauce as ingredients. The fish tacos didn't, so I ordered them and didn't bother specifying that I didn't want cheese or white sauce. Well, they came out smothered in both and I couldn't eat them, so I sent them back. The waiter came out and made a huge show of interrogating my husband about why she, meaning me, sitting right there across the ducking table, fully capable of speaking for myself, sent back the food, and told my husband that it wasn't the restaurant's fault that she didn't just assume that the tacos would obviously come covered in ingredients the menu didn't mention. When I said that he should be talking to me, the one with the problem, he said that he was only comfortable talking with the one who would be paying the bill. I asked to speak to the manager, and as he was leaving to get him, I very clearly heard him call me a bitch on his way out. The manager backed up his sexist prick of a server, so we left without paying, have never gone back, and have told others not to go. Duck that place. Eater. This was in Pennsylvania. Sorry, not comfortable being more specific. TurboTax. Did my return. Got a notice that my e-file needed to be corrected. Logged back in to fix it and my return wasn't there anymore. 6 hours on the phone with 3 tiers of tech support, each one trying exactly the same thing. Finally they were just trying random it, so I tried random it in parallel. Managed to get to my return with the invoice number from paying for the service without logging in. Tried to get them to understand that this was a very bad thing that they should report to someone, and they told me they had no access to anyone technical and no way to submit bugs. This from the company that lobbied to make it illegal for the government to offer tax filing service. Comcast. A door-to-door salesman straight up lied to my dad, saying they had a 4 DVR setup that would cost less than what we were paying and when the installation guy got there, he said that no, they didn't have a 4 DVR setup. He was told to give us the standard 2 DVR setup, which was absolutely not something that would work in a house with 6 people with wildly different tastes in TV shows. So my dad tells him never mind, we're sticking with 8 and then. But because the Comcast guy had already installed our new cable box, he couldn't take it back with him, so we had to mail it back to Comcast ourselves. The kicker is, 5 years later Comcast tried to bill my parents for the cable box, saying we never sent it back. My parents insisted they did, and Comcast wanted the UPS receipt, which obviously we no longer had because it was 5 years ago and we hadn't heard anything from them before this. So my parents refused to pay. Comcast sent a collections company after us, and when my parents explained the situation to the collection company, they were like, those duckers, we'll take care of this. That was, thankfully, the end of it. Verizon. When I called to cancel because I was switching to 8 and prepaid, they insisted that I had the pricing of my new plan wrong because it couldn't be so cheap. I pushed back and ultimately got the rep to cancel my plan, or so she said. 2 months later I get a bill for my Verizon plan and they claimed I wasn't eligible to get it refunded. She had actually just put my account on hold for a week, so on my end it looked like it had been cancelled. I had to report them to the BBB to get my money back and they will never get my money again. UPS. Worked in the warehouse for 2 whole days. I'm unloading the semis of packages when my boss tells me to hurry up. If it breaks, it breaks. Not our problem. I lost all respect for them that day and quit at the end of my shift. Applebee's. First time I ever got food poisoning from a restaurant. I worked for a day at Abercrombie and Fitch Kids. They told me that we had to say, hey guys, how's it going, as customers entered, and if we didn't, we were subject to write-ups because if the customer ended up being a secret shopper, we'd end up getting points off if we didn't say those exact words. We also had to spritz the place every half hour with that horrific cologne that I can only imagine a Six Panther to smell like. I refuse to ever shop at their stores again, though it helps that I'm almost 30 and was never a California surfer. JDM Racing Motors. Gave me a damaged motor and claimed a compression test was the only way to test the engine and said it passed. Barely held on in 1 cylinder. To make matters worse, if you put coolant in where it ought to go, it would come out of the oil pan. Made a few calls and had email exchanges with their mechanics and was informed coolant and oil touch regularly and that is how it cools the oil. Wrong on so many levels. Never got my money back either, so I ended up using the good parts from the exterior to rebuild my old engine. Edit. This got way more attention than I thought it would. Whoa, thanks. Hope it serves as valuable insight into the risks you take buying used parts. Lularo. I only bought stuff to help out a friend that was trying to make ends meet. Luckily she quit after about a year. Bought 3 pairs of leggings over the course of the year and none of them made it the year without holes. $25 each. Never again. Also, I felt gross buying from an MLM, but like I said, just supporting a friend. The Daily Mail. I live near Liverpool in the UK, where the sun is considered literally the worst thing ever. For real. There are signs up just randomly in the street boycotting it, and most newsagents don't stock it, but the Mail has it beat for me. It's an absolute rag that spits on any idea of journalistic integrity, that constantly strips any nuance out of public discussion, and that is packed to the rafters with scare stories and hypocritical bullet. Of the 5 publications that received the most Ipso complaints in 2017, 4 of them, the Daily Mail, Mail Online, the Mail on Sunday and Metro, the free paper that you'll find given out everywhere in the UK, were run by the Mail Group. First place was The Sun, just about, but it was dwarfed by the combined figures for the other 4. Occasionally a newsagent will do an offer where you can buy the Mail for 50p or so and get a bottle of water or a chocolate bar worth £1 for free, which leads to the ever-present quandary of whether or not I buy the paper and hope that they lose money on it, or pay full price for the water or chocolate just so I don't push their circulation numbers up. I'd say it's an irrational hatred, but I don't even think it is. They're an organization that I genuinely believe makes the world worse just by existing. Wafer. Purchased a $1,000 sectional couch that was delivered with damaged upholstery. They refused to let me return it and instead offered me 10% off my next purchase. Yeah. Never using that discount code. Golden Corral. That place is a festering pile of it. Lyft. They recently charged me a damage fee for damages I could not have plausibly caused. I sent statements explaining how it couldn't have been me. They sent back a standardized statement and didn't give me any additional information. There is no phone line to talk to a representative. I sent them multiple follow-up emails, which they never responded to. Now I have to write a statement for my credit card company to dispute the charge. Spirit Airlines. At some point I expect them to start charging you for oxygen in order to breathe on their flights. The amount of money you save isn't worth the minimalist flight experience you get. Other airlines might be at the slyest bit more expensive for a flight, but say with Southwest you get free bags, United you get free TV movies to watch, and so on, which overall makes the travel day more enjoyable in the grand scheme of things. Spirit is like flying in a hollowed out tin can in the sky. P.S. I get it. Some people don't care about in-flight experiences and just want to get somewhere by plane. We bought a flea medicine from Hearts to use on our cat and she became lethargic and didn't eat anything. We took her to the vet and they told us that they have been trying to get that medicine off the shelves because of how it affects animals. I was in a theater watching Despicable Me when my cat finally passed away. It sucked knowing that my cat is dead because of some money-hungry brand who doesn't care about the safety of the animals it gives its products to. Dell laptops. One of the only times I actually sprang for the full deal warranty. About 3 months into owning it, I lifted the lid only to have the plastic bezel around the monitor separate entirely from the lid. All the stupid little plastic clips broken. Figured okay, no problem. Full warranty, easy fix. After contacting support, I was told plain and simple that my warranty does not cover any plastic part. It was a bloody Dell. The entire laptop was plastic. 8ant. I was told that cancelling my cable and internet services with them would cost me $50 to not return the modem and cable boxes. I didn't care, as I would have had to mail them in and didn't want to mess with the hassle. So I didn't. 6 months later I find a $487 charge on my MasterCard and it was from 8ant. It was $150 per piece of equipment and a $37 service charge. You know, charging me money for their hassle of having to charge me money. I asked if I returned the equipment would they rescind the charges. They said yes. I returned the equipment and they refused to take off the charge. I confirmed with them that they received the equipment and they said yes they did, but wouldn't rescind the charges after all. I fought it up their chain of command as much as possible and even tried to fight it through MasterCard, but they couldn't do anything about it either. TL. Dr. Atant screwed me out of $487 and lied to me, so duck them. Demon Marcus. I went there to buy a Prada bag for my mother. She had a knockoff she loved, so I figured she'd appreciate the real thing. I wear t-shirts to work, but this day it was at least a fancy one. It didn't matter. The sales lady told me it's very expensive, rolled her eyes and walked away. So I went next door to the actual Prada store and bought one. I don't need to be judged by an angry middle-aged woman working retail. Thank you very much. Spirit Airlines. A small backpack, a personal item I had brought onto many past Spirit flights with no issues, all of a sudden was too big according to one asshole employee, and I should have in fact paid for a carry-on. Oh, but since it was time to board it was considered late and required a $150 fuel mayo. I got into it with the person at the gate and they started threatening to not let me on the flight, and that I was causing a disturbance. Since I was headed to Vegas with friends for a bachelor party, there wasn't much I could do. Never will fly Spirit again no matter what the price is. And also duck low-level security guards, bouncers, gate agents, etc. who get off on having the tiniest bit of power over people. Well, not me but my dad. General Motors. He used to work at a car factory in Alameda County, California that was a joint venture between GM and Toyota. When the Great Recession got bad, the big automakers were bailed out. At about this time, GM pulled out of the plant. Then when Toyota pulled out and the plant shut down in 2010, they gave all of their employees a severance package. GM didn't, though, just pulled out and left. So according to Dad, GM is now on his hit list. Edit 1. Wow, my most upvoted comment. Thanks, everyone. Levi's. For 20 years I could order Levi's online without trying them on. I just needed to know my size and knew they'd fit. I'd order a few pairs every few years. Then sometime in the past 10 years QA went off a cliff and of the last 6 pair I ordered, all were of a different cut. 2 too tight in the groin, 1 too short, and of the 3 that fit, 2 developed quarter-sized holes in the groin rear pocket area within 6 months of normal wear. Wranglers seem a bit better nowadays, but not much. Meanwhile, I still have one of my first pairs of Levi's that I wear at home because they're a bit too big for me now. Lost weight. Still in acceptable condition. I will never go to my local Benihana again after they removed the glory hole and installed a bathroom attendant. Even when the workers went on strike, the Benihana manager wouldn't budge and even replace the stall walls with an impossible to drill through material. There's a Benihana 15 minutes further away that still has their glory hole, so I expect my local Benihana to shut down within the next few months. Comcast. In my area it's either them or Consolidated Communications who are incompetent, and every time we had to do Comcast, they would usually shut our internet and cable down despite us paying the bill. Always claim they lost our payment, force us to pay it again, and then when we do they always find our bills but keep both payments anyways. I will never move in an area where they have a monopoly, and if I had no choice, I'd live without internet even if it means gimping me horribly. Bank of America. They would always run all my bills before my direct deposit and then charge me up to $500 in overdraft fees. After they did this to me 3 months in a row, I closed out my bank account and will never use them again. Have never had this problem with the bank I have been with for 15 years now. Warning. Disgusting story ahead. I went to Dee's barbecue pit. Their food isn't amazing, but I was craving southern food and my suburban town in California doesn't have many options. So me and my girlfriend buy some sandwiches and have them for dinner. They're cold and taste like salty sweat. The next day I have uncontrollably eating liquid and vomiting multiple times an hour. If I was alone I would have gone to the emergency room, but my dad's a nurse and was there. I vomited something like 20 times in the whole day and kept dry heaving afterwards. The diarrhea came so fast and uncontrolled that it ruined multiple pairs of underwear and a rug that was by the toilet. Why my dad has rugs in the bathroom I don't know, but I ate on it when bent over the toilet. It took only a day for me to feel better and I was already eating heavy foods again. But lo and behold, guess who comes over to see me well again, and it's herself in my bathroom? My girlfriend. The only other person who ate at these. So I spent the rest of the day, after having just hit and vomited myself to death, helping my girlfriend when she was eating and vomiting. I think we're closer to each other after that experience. TLDR. Ate a D's barbecue pit. It hid and vomited, ruining clothes and a rug. GF came over and ate and vomited too. Burger King. You messed with your French fry recipe in 1998 and I still haven't forgiven you. Duck yuking. Walmart. I've never witnessed such terrible situational awareness than in the people that shop at Walmart. I always leave the place angry and I don't think I've been to one in a couple years. The prices are also not that great. You can most likely find everything they have at other places for a lower price if you watch for deals and sales. Kat Von D cause she's a racist mothfka. Wolf Cola. Let me explain. First of all, Boko Haram has adopted them as their official beverage of choice. As if that wasn't enough, it was for me and my wife. The VP of Worldwide Distribution gets on live TV and says he doesn't like dogs. It's a sinking ship. I don't see it lasting more than a few more months. Edit. Word.